All right, Cass. I'm gonna start it on three, Cass. One, two, three. Oh, he's laughing. Oh, we don't need to play it? I bet. We can add it in later. I didn't even know that. Just want to make sure. All right, y'all. I had to set the mood real quick. Definitely got five on it. So welcome.
Right.
Welcome to It's a Smalls World. And I have my boy, my brother from another X. He go by the name of Xavier, but I'm gonna call him X because I always do. And I'm happy because this is our first ever smoke session. And yes, I'm talking about weed. So yeah, for the audience, I want to let y'all know every episode, we will be having a smoke break, and we will be. Sometimes we'll have guests on, sometimes we won't. I felt like tonight was a very special moment because my brother here, X and I, we kind of talked about creating a podcast 2 years ago while working at Amazon in Connecticut and dealing with all the bullshit that we were going through. Just to give y'all some background information, me and X got hired together 5 years ago now in EWR, New Jersey, Carteret, New Jersey, EWR 9. And, there was so many days when we were working, slaving away at Amazon. And during our 30-minute lunch period, we'll be in the car hotboxing, me and two other of our coworkers, or three other of our coworkers in the car in some McDonald's parking lot or somebody's, driveway or a park area, wherever we could, even Amazon's parking lot. We would definitely, we had to get through our day somehow, some way, and we did what we needed to do. We had to light one up. And I know a lot of workers out there can relate to that. You're working 10 hours a day. You're on your feet. You got managers on your back. You're trying to get through the day mentally. And what better way to get through it, than being under the influence and not under the influence of alcohol. We don't condone in that. But there's nothing wrong with, puffing the Magic J while you're at work and you getting the day. You're still productive. And even outside of work, me and X, we always used to conversate and think about ideas for the future. Like that's one thing I love about X. And, when I speak to him, he gets my brain going. We start thinking about things, we brainstorm, and we not the type that just sit back and relax. We always take action, take initiative. We were leaders at Amazon. We both were PAs, level 3, tier 3s. We worked well with people. People used to love us. We were very popular in the facilities that we worked at. We were very friendly. A lot of people gravitated to us. And we also experienced some horrible shit at Amazon, especially when we decided to go to Connecticut, which we thought was going to be a better opportunity for the both of us, but it just turned out it was a lie. So without further ado, I want to bring on my brother X. Yo, X, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How's everybody?
Good, man. Thanks for joining me tonight and joining the podcast, and definitely joining the smoke session. So without further ado, are you rolled up?
I am, yeah.
All right, bro. We're gonna light up, man, and I want you to explain to the audience, like, first of all, a little bit about yourself. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, like where you come, how you was brought up a little bit, and how you got hired at Amazon. How did you get to Amazon? Let's start there. Like, what brought you to Amazon?
It's crazy. It's actually a similar story to yours. It's my mom's fault. She was walking around Englishtown. I'm from Matawan, so Englishtown is not very far, and it's like this very big open flea market. And this woman, she was just walking around with flyers. My mom brought it home to me. Initially, I didn't do anything with the flyer, and she just pressured me to, just do the application. She told me, they're paying stock to their employees. They're starting at like $13 an hour. So after she enticed me a little bit, I just went forward and put in the application.
Right. Yep. Moms know best, right? They set us both up. My mom's did the same thing, and I bit the bait.
Right.
So that was November. That was November of 2015, and when we started. And
Yeah, 15th of November in 2015.
Right. So yeah, tell us, tell the audience, like, you know, what position you was doing at first, and you know, where did you, how long did it take for you to get promoted, and you know, where did we end up?
At the site where we started, EWR9, it was a brand new facility. So in the beginning, it was just a tent site operation, as you know. We operated out of just a third of the entire site. So the room for growth and gaining new positions was pretty big. You know, we knew that pretty soon the other 2/3 of the warehouse would soon be open for operation, and that we would hire a bunch more people. And for those reasons, we need more PAs and AMs. I started in problem solve, which is like an indirect path. Probably one of the shittiest, just like fixing everyone's problems over and over again.
For the same pay, by the way. For the same pay.
Right. So problem solve kind of gave me a little behind the scenes and allowed me to network with, you know, the area managers and operations managers and things like that. When the time came, 6 months later, I applied for a process assistant role, and luckily I got it the first time around. They were unsure where they're going to place me, so they developed a problem solve process assistant role for the B outbound area. And that's where I stayed for, I want to say, roughly another 6 months before I moved upstairs to ICQA and became the quarterback, or the area floor manager.
Right, I remember, yeah. So, oh man, you know where I'm going to go with this. So, EWR9 was pretty good to us, you know, at first, in the beginning. You know, we both got promoted, not just us two, but a large portion of our friends, and even the black community. You know, we had a black GM, Chris Cooper.
Right.
He looked out for us. He was a very good GM. I'll give him that. He listened to us. He cared for our concerns. I remember going to him every day in his office, just walking in and interrupting and whatever he got going on, and he would listen to me. And even when I got promoted, I was like, look, I want to be with my friends. I told them. They promoted me, they had me on a different shift, and I was like, no, keep me on with my friends. And he was like, you know what, I got you. And he did that. He came back to me the next day and told me, I'll never forget, he told me, he's like, you happy now? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. So shout out to him. And he promoted a very large portion of black and brown people, which I applaud. And internally too. He didn't go external. He made it a promise that he was going to hire from within and promote from within. And he absolutely did that.
With a lot of buildings, I'm sorry to cut you off, but a lot of buildings actually don't do what Chris did. You know, they'll go to the next site and ask them for process assistants or area managers to come over. So I agree with what you're saying. You know, Coop
Right.
did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he looked out. Don't know what happened after that, but you know what? I know what happened. You know, like you mentioned, when the building was small tent side, it was more easier to manage operation wise, and even for a GM level, that's easy to manage, opposed to you know, a couple hundred, to now we're talking thousands. You know, in the blink of an eye, it went from, you know, a tent side, it was only 500, 600 of us total. And then when the building fully launched, it became 3,500, you know, 3,500, 4,500 people. So it was a lot to deal with. Now you're talking different intangibles, different operations, different parts, and different personalities. And
Sure.
when you got the wrong personalities in the wrong positions, when we're talking about managers, operation managers, senior managers that come in with their own agendas, that's when it made it harder for the black and brown PAs like ourselves to get to their level, become salary managers, L4s, because they don't want to give it to us. We got to earn it, right? We got to work for it. We got to show our, our work skills for not just months, for years.
Twice hard, twice as much.
Twice as much. And EWR9 quickly became a building that I no longer wanted to be a part of. I seen over and over and over our white counterparts, less experience or just as much experience, get promoted right over us, become L4s, no problem. And it seemed like for us, we had nothing but a dead end. And then what really was icing on the cake was when they got rid of Coop. They just shipped him off, and he actually went to, I believe he went to Kansas. That's where he's originally from. So for him, it was a good move because he was going to be with his family. But for us, the rest of us, it wasn't, because the new GM came in, and every GM runs building different, and I believe that's when everything started turning south. So I know you remember we had management, new hires coming in to the company, about 35 new managers from all over the country, different colleges, college hires, like we like to call them, are people with degrees, in whatever they went to school for. Our work experience of being a manager already, they came in for training to launch a new building in Connecticut called BDL2 at the time. And this is back in 2016. They launched this building, BDL2. These 35 managers were training in EWR 9 in New Jersey with us, or underneath us, so to speak, because they had to learn the job first, and they only had to learn from PAs. For 3 to 4 months, they trained with us every single day. They trained with us at EWR 9 in New Jersey before they were going to open up that building in Connecticut. And during this time, I wasn't going to go to Connecticut. I had no plans to. I was going to stay and try to work it out at EWR 9. But what happened was the senior ops of BDL2 approached me, and he was like, Smalls, come to Connecticut. He fed me a dream. He basically told me, come to Connecticut. You train these managers. You know the job better than they do. You're going to get promoted next quarter. I'm like, damn, you're right. I did spend the last 3 months with them, like literally training them. Not only that, I was training them so well. I didn't do them a good job. I took their test for them, their assessment test for them to get the actual position. They brought me in the cafeteria one day, sat me down and said, Small, I need help on this. They had to get an 80 or better. They were failing that shit. I took the shit for them, for like 3 managers, passed it, flying colors, right? So I actually helped them maintain their position that obviously they didn't know what the hell they were doing. And the last week before the deadline to make a decision, I changed my mind. I didn't even know you were actually going to Connecticut until like the last week. And I was like, wow, thank God you are. But yeah, so let's talk about what Amazon offers. X, tell us real quick, what Amazon offer in relocation package?
Relocation before taxes, you're looking at $10K. Probably after taxes, I received like $6,090. They don't pay you until the last minute, literally. You'll be waiting on that check forever. And you have such a short time. Like I got suckered as well, but by Todd instead of Dice. So,
right.
You're under a lot of pressure to find a new home, somewhere close to work in an area that you don't know. And the 6,000 did help, but it went in like the first 30 days that I was there. You have to buy furniture, you have to buy groceries. You have to, at the time, I had a car, so I was paying insurance on my car, driving back and forth to work, filling up with gas every single day.
Oh, you have to pay tax on your car in Connecticut, by the way, which I learned. There's tax on your own cars.
If you do it the right way. I didn't like switch all my stuff over, so
right, that's true.
I got out of that.
That's true.
But yeah, it seems like an amazing opportunity at first, but it's one of the recurring themes with Amazon. Like they're always handing you something with one hand and manipulating you with the other. A lot of
Right. Right. They told us 10,000. I'm like, okay, 10K. Forgot about taxes. That Jeff Bezos don't pay, by the way, but we paying them for him. So yeah, after I received mine, because I was paying into, I had a family medical plan and 401k. I received like 5,500 maybe, and that was it. Literally a down payment on the apartment, and to furnish my apartment, my money. Now I'm back to zero. I'm back to check, working at Amazon again in Connecticut, and I didn't do the smart move and move to the city like X did. He moved to Hartford. I ended up moving to Ellington, Connecticut.
West Bumblefuck.
West Bumble, literally 20 minutes away from Massachusetts. And I had chickens and farms as my neighbors. I was out there in the farmlands. They called it Smellington because as soon as you come into the town, you start smelling like, manure, cow manure and all of that. So I lived in a quiet suburban. It was nice for me. I loved it. It was definitely scary at night. Don't go outside because there's no street lights, but it was peaceful. It was peaceful out there, and I enjoyed it. That was like my way of escaping reality, being out there. And thank God I wasn't the only one. I had X to be there support, in times of need. Because, man, let's talk about Connecticut. Let's talk about BDL too. Woo. So, X, what happened your first week? Do you remember what happened? Do you remember what happened our first week at it? What happened your first week there, man?
So I know what you're referencing, but I think it's important to note that we went to our area managers or our operations managers, Chris, actually.
A lot of Chris's around.
We told them, we know our positions from our building, but as we know, each Amazon is run differently. Like how are we supposed to do our roles at BDL2? And they basically told us that you guys are the leaders, you guys are the ones with experience, you trained our staff, like do exactly what you would do at your normal building. As the QB, I would manage the AR floor where all the robots go and deliver the pods to the picking stations. And sometimes there would be obstructions over the little barcodes that basically guide the robot to the station and back to its staging areas. I had an associate, I think it was our week of like doing our first picks and getting off the ground essentially. And an associate who was struggling to relieve an obstruction. It was causing a lot of backup because it was a corner. And anybody that knows about those floors, your corners are like your worst enemies. So it's backing up pretty bad. I ask him, does he need help? He tells me he does, but at this time, I don't have the credentials to sign into the tech that you need to like draw yourself a safe area and recover the obstruction and get the floor back to running. We had just a verbal exchange between him and myself. There was another third party present. And by third party, I mean like they worked for Amazon, but not as Amazonians. They did the same job as the techs did on the floor. And that person witnessed our conversation in which I basically asked, like, do you have an area set up? Tell me where the area is set up. How do I get to you, etc. We relieve the obstruction and come off the floor. And then I'm pulled into like a meeting, basically. Or actually, I think you gave me a heads up. You knew what was going on because you witnessed it.
Yeah, I knew. I was there.
Right. You were standing there. Our manager was standing there. My manager let me out onto the floor, but long story short, it ended up with a final. And a final is basically if you have one more incident, you're out of the door. And I don't believe you're eligible for rehire. This associate went back to their manager, the third party, went back to their manager, let them know that I entered the floor without my own prohibit. And it got back to the leaders in our site, and they issued that final like swiftly. I applied for an appeals, which is a means of getting it off of your record, and I was denied. You know, I consider myself a little bit of a lawyer. Like I pleaded my case, you know, gave them all the facts. You guys were able to speak to them.
Right. Let me stop you right there too, because yeah. So Amazon has this thing for the audience. Amazon has this thing called the appeals process, where if you get a final written or you get terminated, which I had to go through the same thing. Um, you have a chance to appeal it to management at the facility. It's like arbitration. Like if you were in the union, it's sort of like that because it's Amazon. It's not a union, but they do like things. So they have this process, which is a fake ass arbitration, but it's really managers, and they have to decide whether to withhold the writing or toss it out. And we can all guess what they did with his case. But yeah, go ahead.
And that's pretty much it. I ended up with that final in my first week, and maybe a day or two before, I had this conversation I told you all about with our leaders about how to perform our roles and all that stuff. They had the ability to issue our credentials before us starting. Like the day I got there, my badge didn't work and like all this mess.
Shit.
But on that point, I think that Amazon, amongst all the companies out there, has probably the best ability to take care of their workers. They have the most money, the most resources. They track things like no other company. They can tell how long it takes you to reach into a bin and turn around and place it into a tote, or, you know, tack time. So if they can measure those types of things, they can measure their people like they do their customers and give them what they need, you know, give them what you guys are asking for.
Right. And you say you guys because you no longer work there anymore, right?
Right, yeah. I ended, after BDL2, I went to another facility, FAT1, and I did my first day there, and then went on a personal leave for like 3 months, and then just ended it.
Just like it's over. I hear you, bro. Man, I just want to thank you for joining us tonight, man. I know the audience enjoyed that conversation, and I'm gonna bring you back on for another smoke session, bro. It's been a while, man. I miss you, and you know, we got to get up again, even though you know we see each other when we do. But safe out there, and yeah, man, we'll have you back on for another session, brother.
Appreciate you got a good night.
All right, man. Solid.